That is a beautiful song, and that is Steve Mortimer. And I'm pleased to say that Steve is joining us now on Zoom. He's a producer and a singer-songwriter, and we're going to be playing out his exclusive version of a brand new track called Unstable at the end of this interview. So a very good morning, Steve.
Good morning, Michelle. How are you?
You were enjoying your own song then. I could see you on the screen.
I was actually enjoying the one before. The Freak Power one was fantastic. I love
Oh
it.
yeah,
I
it's a
was
good track,
bopping
isn't it?
away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and you can check that interview out. That's up online with Ashley Slater from last week. Very funny dude. So, for people out there that might not know about Steve Mortimer, give us some of your background because you've been doing music for a long time. You also have Black Chapel as well. I know we're talking about you in your own right today. So, tell us about your musical background.
Sure. I've been producing remixing for about 25 years. I've remixed people like Moloko, Feeder, um, uh, people such as that. And then I've done various projects, dance projects. And then recently, 2 or 3 years ago, 2 3 years ago, I made the Connect film with a whole host of brilliant artists. And that just was fantastic, and got lots of plaudits around the world. And then more recently, I've just been trying to sort of concentrate on my stuff, writing just about the things that I feel and struggle and enjoy, and that's me really.
And was this something that you thought you would ever do yourself? Because obviously you've been a producer on stuff, but to actually start singing and creating in that way, is that something new for you?
Yeah, 100%. I think the last time I sang live was at the Three Cups in Chelmsford when I was about 18 years ago. I don't think Three Cups is there. I certainly don't feel like I'm there all the time. But so I haven't sung for a long time. So working with incredible musicians and vocalists, be they Sunscream or the remixes or people like Daniela and Rachel who are on Guiding Stars, it was kind of like, wow, they make it look so easy. But because of the things I was going through, I just felt like I really needed to express that. I just wanted, I know as a singer, you probably feel the same, where it's not that it's a combination of you want to do it, but you've got to do it. Something inside you says, I've got to express this. So that's kind of how I sort of ended up writing my own stuff.
Now we're going to talk more about the songwriting, but tell us about Nordoff Robbins and how you're involved with them.
Yeah, Nordoff Robbins are a charity that basically what they do is they do music therapy. And they've been going for a long, long time. And they have a whole team of therapists around the country who work for them, who train in music therapy. And they help kind of, I suppose, work on with people who suffer from limiting illness, disability, and social isolation. And lots of big music stars. I know Nile Rodgers just regularly contributes to them. And I think the reason why they're so important, is often we tend to think of music as being the music industry, but actually, particularly when we were all in lockdown, what was the thing that kept us going? The thing that gave us the vaccination or the healing in that sense was the music. And so music, we all know from, whether it's the Curtis Mayfield track you played earlier in the depths of kind of racial oppression, or all these things. Music has a voice and can help us through very tough times. So Nordoff Robbins, incredible charity, and Earth Percent, the other one is Earth Percent, who do great work with climate.
Half of all mental health disorders in adulthood start at the age of 14, which I didn't know. And most cases are undetected and untreated. And that's according to the World Health Organization. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I've kind of, for me, it was a real eye opener. I had a huge breakdown last year. A mental breakdown, was prescribed by my doctor as being clinically depressed, and I had to take time off work. And I think it just hits you like a tornado. Anyone that has experienced that knows that. I think we all know someone, whether they're sharing it or not, And what struck me, those figures are so true. Another one that really puts it into context is every year, 108 billion pounds, that's 108 billion pounds, are lost with people being absent from work.
Yeah.
In the UK. That's not the world, that's the UK. And to give that a bit of context, when Liz Truss did her infamous budget, I think it's now that we lost 30 billion. And look at how all the markets and everyone reacted. But we don't react that way when something like mental health, which costs 3 times as much each year. We're actually, you know, it's not just good health sense, it's good business sense to really look at how can we help each other and see mental health not just as being this isolated thing. You know, physical health, we go to the gym, that's great, we exercise and we eat healthily, but you know, physical and mental health, they're so interconnected.
I mean, what do you think? I mean, with the internet, you've got Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, all these different platforms, Twitter, and the world does seem sometimes not to be, when I was growing up and a teenager, this wasn't a problem. The world seemed to be kinder. Do you think that social media plays a part in people sort of dealing with depression, or it can cause depression in people, or people just not being kind in general to each other?
I think so. I think there's some really great things about social media. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this conversation now. And obviously, during lockdown, think of how great it was to see friends, family, and to talk to them when we couldn't physically see them. So there's so many wonderful things. But I think you know, I think, I can't remember, was it Instagram recently? This whole body, the whole body image that's being portrayed to particularly young people. Again, going back to this physical image, I think can be really, really destructive. And you know, it's, you know, what are those platforms doing to promote a holistic image of people that doesn't, I suppose, it boxes us, doesn't it? It kind of, this is what you have to look like as a woman, or this is what you have to look like as a man, or a successful adult. And I think we're not like that, are we, as human beings? We're all different, and we should be celebrating that difference, not trying to all be the same.
Now, I know that you are really concerned about the earth, what we're doing to it. Tell us what's important to you.
Well, that's a big question.
Is
I'm just okay.
making you sound like a politician now, aren't I?
You may say that. I couldn't possibly comment.
Yes, don't comment.
No, I think we're now sort of in that period, aren't we, where we kind of realise, both scientifically and just on our own emotional level, spiritually, whatever, that everything, what one person does affects one person somewhere else. And so, you know, global warming has caused all the horrendous weather that's destroying lives. It's all the science is telling us that we've got X amount of years before we've done, if we haven't already done, irreparable damage. And I think the thing for me is, I think I try to see myself as that we're the new ancestors. Whatever we do now is going to affect our children and their children and their children. And if the science is telling us that, you know, we're off track, then what can we do? And of course, when we were, again, going back to COVID, a really great learning teacher, when we were allowed to go out and walk in nature, you could hear the bird song, you could hear these things that we just took for granted. Individually as well, our sense of who we were. I don't know about you, but I just felt so much better being outside. So I think it's kind of looking at ways. I think it is important to not just look at ourselves and humanity, but to look at what we're doing to the planet, because the planet is there to help us and give us resources and the food we need, but it only has so much limit there. And people like Earth% in the music industry, in inverted commas, are really working out great ways for musicians, just to simple ways to contribute. Just give 1% of your sales and that will go to impactful climate solutions. So for me, Guiding Stars, the track you played, that costs £1 on Bandcamp. All of that's going to Earth% and Nordoff Robbins. But if it wasn't, that would be, I'm selling something for £1, it would be 1p, just 1p. We're asking musicians who are always saying, how can I do things like that? So it's that's kind of where I think kind of artists and musicians should be looking at. How can we change things and give things away rather than take things back for ourselves?
Now, have you got an EP? Is there an EP or is there an album coming out with all the songs on?
There's an album pretty much written actually, that I think we're looking to bring out in September, and hopefully tie that in with a live performance which is in support of mental health, a kind of charity gig. But the theme is more geared towards kind of the whole mental health, and how we are as individuals. I have a tentative title which is called Psalms from the Gutter. So the theme is very much just really talking about my feelings and the feelings that hopefully other people can relate to, not just negative, but also that those feelings of when we do encounter difficulties, and then we get that breakthrough and we feel like, oh yeah, it's made another step and another, and so that's kind of really that's the direction I'm wanting to go in.
And when are you most creative, Steve?
3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I am. Sarah will tell you. I
bet she'd say it not in a cheerful voice if she did.
No, well, I have to. She'll tell you. She'll be fast asleep, and then she can just hear this tapping of me on the keyboard. Or if it's not me, it's Nathan. When Nathan comes back, and he's sort of, so she's usually falling to sleep to someone rapping or someone doing that. But I like that time is good for me. I like the quiet, and especially with this stuff, because this stuff's quite reflective, and so sometimes I've never really written songs for myself, so I find that time is really great. And then you can get up, go back to sleep for a couple of hours, get up and look at what you've written and gone, oh my god, that's rubbish, or that's really good, or that's good, so
so what is for this year, September, probably a live gig, probably in Chelmsford, possibly Hotbox, who knows, with the girls as well, because you've got Rachel Brooks, who's a fantastic singer, and Daniela Rhodes. Give them both a mention because they are fantastic. What changes, Steve, do you hope to see in your lifetime with regards to climate?
Well, with regards to climate, I think we now need to sort of hopefully move from it being a climate crisis to seeing it as a climate opportunity. All the finances, all of those, it makes sustainable sense for us to invest in sustainable energy. It makes no sense whatsoever to invest in fossil fuels. I think that would be the biggest change. But also, I think one of the things where you make real change is not by making people feel guilty. I'd really like to see more investment in the arts and music that celebrate, the world we live in. Yeah. Think how many times you'll watch David Attenborough and you go, oh my god, that's amazing. And what does that do? It inspires you. It makes you, what an incredible planet we live in. And I think anything that goes along those, on a practical level, financial investment in sustainable renewables, and then from an artistic feeling level, just inspiring people to continue falling in love with the planet.
Now, the new track is called Unstable, and this is a version you've done for Eat My Brunch, isn't it? This slightly different version.
It is. It's quite relevant because I'm actually off work with a slipped disc, so I am incredibly unstable at the moment.
And very painful that is too.
It is. No, so that one, Unstable, I kind of was the first one first piece of music I'd written with just me and the guitar. And obviously the other version has got all the backing vocals, it's all tidied up, but this is quite raw. And it's really just me expressing or singing about how when I'm feeling very low, or when I'm feeling fragile or vulnerable, or like my life doesn't really have a purpose, or all these things, how I feel, it's a feeling of unstable. I don't feel grounded, and I don't feel certain. And the reason why I wanted to sing that was I just wanted to get out. These are feelings that people who suffer from mental health, all of the 1 in 10 people you mentioned, these are feelings they feel, and also feelings all of us, if we're honest, will feel at times. You know, we'll all feel crap. It's an illusion to think everything's tickety boo. So really, with Unstable, it was just trying to sort of recognize that, and not wallow in it, because that's not healthy at all, but to kind of just scream out, I feel really, for want of a better phrase, unstable.
And so this will be hopefully be on the album EP later on in September, and then you'll be doing some live gigs as well.
Yes, of which hopefully, you mentioned Daniela Rose. I'm actually trying to get a band together, so I'd really like you, if it's okay, if you could do some singing on the tracks as well. It'd be wonderful. Sorry, I've just dropped that in on you.
No, I love to. Thank you so much.
That's the idea. I'm just sort of talking to people like Andy Mackay from Snakes, various other people, just about how can I do this live, and all the money again. Or how can we do this with 4 bands, and all that money will go to Nordoff Robbins and any mental health charity. All the artists will go, no, we don't want to be paid for it. There you go. And it's often in giving things away, you get a hell of a lot back.
But if you do want to support people like Steve and a lot of the people that I play on the show, it's have a look at Bandcamp, or go and like their socials, go and like their pages, because a like doesn't cost anything, but it all helps. So we're going to play your song. And I will put all the details up online for Steve, and please go and like the pages, because it means a lot to musicians just to get that little bit of a like. And I wish you all the better, actually, because your slip disc has been, I know you're in pain, so thank you for doing the interview. We would have liked to have Steve in the studio, but obviously it's not possible. But it's great that you had the time to actually give us the interview.
No problem, and I look forward to getting together with you to do a rendition of Laurel and Hardy's In the Blue Ridge Mountain of Virginia, because you mentioned them earlier. That would be quite a laugh, wouldn't it?
That would be. I wonder which one I'd be playing. Now,